bloodbath for the media's credibility. Team Biden, the Democrats, and the liberal press all teaming up to take Donald Trump completely out of context over comments the former president made about a bloodbath in the auto industry during his rally in Ohio. So here's what he actually said.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars.
The media leaving out the full context of what Trump was saying, instead pumping out these types of headlines promoting the misleading bloodbath interpretation, sorry about that, implying that the former president was calling for political violence. Their narrative also finding a place on rival networks.
I mean, what I heard was a continuation of the same rhetoric, the same endorsement of political violence that we've seen from Donald Trump.
He's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath?
It's just bull. He knew what he was doing. We're not stupid. Americans aren't stupid.
So he says his bloodbath comment was referring to the auto industry. That's not how it sounded to me.
It's not some meandering off-message comment. This is his message.
A major party candidate is saying, you elect me, there's going to be dictatorship, bloodbath, violence, retribution against my political enemies. That equals what we saw in Italy, Germany, and other places.
Not taking it out of context, because the context is his history and his life.
Former President Trump addressing the outrage in a Truth Social post saying this. I was simply referring to imports allowed by crooked Joe Biden, which are killing the automobile industry. Greg, I feel like the challenge for Democrats right now is that they become the boy who cried political violence, and it's only March.
It's amazing, though, but I think we're in a new era now, and it's not like the old days. How quickly this was debunked. It was like catching a mole before it turns cancerous. And I love how the hoax toadies, they pivot to, well, it's true in the context of other hoaxes. Like, you know, okay, you mean like the fine people hoax, the drinking bleach hoax, the migrants aren't people hoax. So they rest their hoax on a pile of other hoaxes, which is like, it's almost like saying, well, Peter Pan is real because so is Tinkerbell. And it raises another point of idiocy, which I love. I think it was the person on The View said this is true because his language is among a pattern of inflammatory rhetoric, right? Well, then how do you fall for it every time? If you're aware that this is a pattern, the intelligent response would be, oh, Trump speaks like this all the time. That's how he speaks, right? So actually, when they bring up his past, it disproves their point rather than proving it. Now compare it to the past to see how we've evolved as hoax consumers. You know, when the Fine People hoax was created, everyone fell for it, including the people here at Fox. There was some guy who cried when it happened on TV. Then we started seeing the unedited tape over a period of months. We've talked about it here on The Five. And every time you brought it up, people would say, I heard it with my own ears. I saw it with my own eyes. But they didn't. It had been edited. And then when you showed it to them, it was like this cognitive dissonance just exploded. Their entire basis for truth had been stripped away. And so, but what the result is now, we have learned to suspect all stories without context as lies. It helps that Musk bought X, because if he wasn't running X, this probably would have been considered fact. But the bigger story is the media has no credibility. They're exhausted. None of this stuff works. And the Dems, though, as you can see, will see it as the truth because they still live in their bubble of cognitive bias. They may no longer reach them. They're immune to the truth the way Jesse is immune to world suffering.
Judge, Democrats try to squeeze so much juice out of anything that he says that it becomes something like you just can't. It's been 9 years, since, I'm just trying to think, it's been 9 years since the media has been watching this, and they continue to fall into this trap. And I think Greg's right, that it's come to a point where people are like, oh, the media, but here they go again.
But what stuns me is that they continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They know that what they're selling is not saleable, that the American people are not buying it. The whole idea of that last sound of Pelosi saying, is he going to exact a bloodbath? Nancy, he was president for 4 years. Did you see a bloodbath? And then, he's Hitler. Well, during the 4 years that he was president, did you see him kill any Jews? No. In fact, he set up the embassy in Jerusalem and took it out of Tel Aviv. Or that, he's going to exact retribution against his enemies. He had a DOJ for 4 years. What enemy did he exact retribution from? Did he indict? So they are now at the point where they know they're so ridiculous that they're justifying they're taking it out of context. Yeah. They're almost admitting it. They're saying, we're taking it out of context, but it's okay because it's really in context, because if you listen to what that one said on The View, whatever her name is, that it is in context. Here's the bottom line. Rachel Maddow used a bloodbath hours before Donald Trump did in referring to the new leadership at the RNC.
Can we play that for everyone?
If you have it.
Here he is. Call for number 4 if you could play that.
But as Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC,
as part of the, quote, MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath.
The midterm elections may not be the bloodbath for Democrats that's been predicted.
Joe Biden was just talking the other day about, his concerns about a negative bloodbath.
It's going to be a bloodbath in November.
It would be a bloodbath.
They could see a bloodbath too. A bloodbath at the ballot box.
The Republican Party will be destroyed. It's going to be a bloodbath.
And there you have it.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. When the only bloodbaths going on in the world are Ukraine, the Middle East, illegals murdering Americans, fentanyls, missing children coming over the border, and I'll leave it at that.